Hi everyone, welcome to the Timeform and Sporting Live Saturday racing preview. It's a pretty low-key Saturday in between Epsom and Royal Ascot, but they can't all be brilliant, and we have got some good racing to focus on and try and find a few bets on Saturday afternoon. I'm Ben Linfoot in the company of value bet tipster Matt Brocklebank from Sporting Live to discuss the action. And Matt, it's one of those Saturdays really where you just want to try and nick a winner in the build-up to Royal Ascot, isn't it?
Aren't most Saturdays like that, Scoop?
They are a bit like that.
I find that. I know what you mean, especially when you look at the ITV action is obviously split across Haydock and Beverley, isn't it? And Beverley can be quite tricky this weekend with the 2-year-old races. So I think we'll focus on Haydock. It's probably a sensible move. There are a couple of bets, I think, in the handicaps that I'm keen on. And then obviously this fascinating group race, the Gaunt Stakes. Good race this year, I think.
It is a good race. And Beverley, a lovely track, and it's good to see them getting exposure on ITV on Saturday. But we are going to focus on Haydock, and we are going to focus on the Betfred John of Gaunt Stakes, the Group 3 at 3:35, and it looks a really competitive contest. We'll get the Timeform ratings up just to see how competitive it is, because it is quite tight-knit, Matt.
It is, yeah. You've got a really good blend, though, haven't you, of the kind of experienced older stages in here, few progressive 4-year-olds, and then we've got a horse like Noble Dynasty there who tops the Timeform adjusted ratings. He appears to sort of have a foot in both of those camps, really, being quite a lightly raced 6-year-old horse for Godolphin, winner last time out of a handicap at Newmarket. We'll come on to that. We've also got last year's winner in here, Jumby, down on 125. We've got the 2022 winner, Pogo. We've got a filly in Sirona getting weight on the back of that promising comeback run at Lingfield Park. We've got William Haggas' horse Tiber Flow, took a dramatic fall at York last time. A penalised Group 2 winner, Flight Plan. We've got the Lockinge third as well, Scoop, Witch Hunter. A gutsy handicap winner here in Point Linus. That was at York the other week. And then the rock solid Ramazan. I mean, we've even got Quinault, Scoop, last year's real horse of the year, proper progressive horse. Are you not entertained? I ask you that.
I am. I'm really looking forward to this. I think it's a crackerjack of a race. And we're going to look at a few video clues to try and unravel the puzzle. And we're going to start with Noble Dynasty, who was a very good winner at Newmarket last time, Matt, and this form has been somewhat boosted.
Yeah, this is a good horse, isn't it? We can see that when he's on song. I suppose you would argue that he's thrown in the odd shocker, hasn't he, throughout his career, I suppose. And one of those lesser runs was at Haydock on good to firm ground. And I think we're going to be looking at fairly lively conditions at Haydock this weekend. Obviously, if they miss the 1 or 2 showers, but they're only going to be light showers, I think, if they do get rain. But this was a good performance. It was a proper Newmarket performance in a handicap under a big weight. And he came there and made the vast majority of the running and kicked clear as William Buick is so astute at doing on this Rolly Mile course, and he wins nicely from English Oak, a horse who has since won very well himself. I think that was at Haydock as well, wasn't it? And is one of the favourites probably for the Wokingham or the Buckingham Palace. That's the runner-up there of Ed Walker's. But yeah, Godolphin horse, a clear... I was going to say a standout. He's not that clear, is he, on Timeform ratings? And I suppose you do come down to that. He is a Dubawi. Does he want this sort of drying ground, and is he going to put in another shocker? He's going to be short enough, I think, for me, with Pat Dobbs taking over.
I just think he might be a Rolly Mile horse. I just think he sort of bounces off those undulations, and on a flat track like Haydock, I'm just a little bit worried that he might be outpaced or run into a bit of trouble and can't get himself out of it, like what happened when he did run at Haydock that time.
Yeah, that's it as well. He's won on the July course at Newmarket as well, hasn't he? So, and it's one of them. And let's be clear, he got a fairly easy lead that day at Newmarket, which doesn't look like being the case this weekend.
Well, second video clue is Witch Hunter and Pogo. Now, Witch Hunter's second favourite, and he was third in the Lockinge Stakes last time. But this is at Haydock the time before, Matt, when he just finished behind Pogo, and both of them finished behind Archie Watson's Shartash.
Yeah, this is a kind of a smaller field. Obviously, we've got a dozen runners in Saturday's race. This was a smaller field, and again, it just turned into a bit of a dash, and that's not really going to suit a horse like Witch Hunter, who loves coming off a strong pace to pick up the pieces.
He's in the white rear at the minute, but he stays on quite nicely.
That's the thing. He does come off the pace and pick up some of the pieces, and as we saw at Newbury last time out, he did it again in the Group 1. The Lockinge Stakes. Now, a horse dropping from Group 1 into Group 2 really should be our first port of call, I suspect, you always just think, is this going to be a horse that's a class apart? And for me, I don't get that feeling with Witch Hunter. I know he's been like well placed, hasn't he? And he's very, very solid at running on through the back from the back of a field. I think dropping back to 7, a fast run 7 probably will be in his favour. All conditions come alike to this horse, and Richard Hannon's horse is obviously going really, really well. I just don't think they went quickly enough for him that day, and we might see an even better showing, more one akin to the third in the lock-ins recently.
I think I'd rather back Witch Hunter at 40-1 in a big field Group 1 than at 11-2 in a medium field Group 3.
Yeah, I think you've summed it up, because as well, if you're betting into the place markets here on Witch Hunter, you're getting like even money, aren't you? So it's not that appealing. While I can certainly see him running another good race, I think we can look elsewhere for a bit more of a beefy value bet.
Pogo's fairly solid, but he's 8 years old and we know all about him.
We do, yeah. Pogo's very solid horse. He does like I say, he's won at Haydock, won this race a couple of years ago, and you just wonder if he has maybe, obviously, he's sort of peaked in his career, I suspect, and might just be a little bit vulnerable here. We saw him beaten a couple of times last season, including behind Jumbie.
Final video clue, Matt, is Flight Plan, winning a Group 2 at Leopardstown last September from the front under Danny Tudhope there in the grey Clipper Logistics silks. Now, if he bounced back to this form, he would be a player, but there's a few buts.
Yeah, there is, and because of this Group 2 victory, which wasn't maybe, for Irish standards, it probably wasn't the hottest Group 2 race in the world, he carries the penalty, doesn't he? So he has got to give weight away to plenty of accomplished horses of a similar standard on their best form, even to this. So this was a really good ride. It was a proper Champions Weekend ride at Leopardstown, wasn't it, where he grabbed the bull by the horns, dictated and kicked clear, and then they're closing at him at the line, but the race is over. So Carl Burt made it fairly clear prior to his seasonal reappearance this time around in the Lock-in Stakes that Flight Plan was going to strip fitter for a run. It's perhaps no coincidence that his victories have come much later in the year. He's won not only this day in September, but he won in November, I think, as a 2-year-old. So perhaps he's more one for the end of the season, maybe with a little bit of ease underfoot as well. So I'm, against Flight Plan as well.
Well, let's round up our thoughts by looking at the time form pace map to try and help us out, see how this might be run. You can see Quinault there, who made all quite a few times last season. He is likely to be up there. I would say Pogo would be prominent as well, and Flight Plan, judging by what he did at Leopardstown. And if they all go forward, it could be strongly run.
I'd say this is the key to the race. I think it's going to be really strongly run, far more strongly run than your typical kind of small field Group 2, Group 3 race over 7 furlongs. Noble Dynasty, obviously, you mentioned. Yeah, Point Linus as well has made all at winging his way around York just the other day. So I think this is going to be really evenly run. Popmaster likes to race fairly handy as well. Ramazan, he tends to sit kind of close to the pace, doesn't he? And he was in front at Ascot a couple of furlongs from home. You like him. I think it'll set up. I think it will set up nicely for a horse like Witch Hunter, possibly even a horse like, bless him, the 10-year-old. We've not mentioned him, but he seems just as good as ever based on that Ascot run. He does seem to love Ascot as well. He could struggle here, but Jumbie for me, I think the race really does tee up quite nicely for a horse like him. He's often slowly away, so he'll need to pick his way through under Charles Bishop, but he got a really good ride in this race last year. He ended up winning quite cosily this race, and you go back to that race, he actually beat horses rated 115 and 112 in the Astrologist and El Caballo, and he did it quite cosily. Now, he's gone off the boil a little bit, but he did win the Hungerford, the Group 2 at Newbury last season, and on that piece of form, that is as good as anything else in this race. So I know there's, if you focus purely on every horse's best piece of form in the race, potentially it's a bit of a dangerous game because you're looking at horses that are in form here, and Jumbie isn't guaranteed to bounce back to form, and he was down the field at Ascot last time, but I think he does have the perfect scenario in which to bounce back to form. And if he does, he's a big player, and you're getting a good price. He's 10, 12-1, which I think is possibly an each-way bet.
That's the key, isn't it? Because he is an in-and-out character, but on his best form, he's got a good chance, and the prices allow you to get the bat out and have a swing at him.
And drying ground is absolutely crucial to him. He just doesn't perform when there's cut in the ground, this horse. He loves He likes Haydock and he loves fast ground and he likes a fast pace. You couldn't want much more if you're in the Jumbie camp, and at 12 to 1, I'm willing to roll the dice.
You're in the Jumbie camp. I'm in the Ramazan camp. I think he's an improving 4-year-old for the on-fire Richard Fairyard. And this horse is in the groove. If you watch back his Ascot run last time in the Victoria Cup, he travelled really well that day in the visor. The visor's back on here. And he's 2 from 2 from Haydock, including over the course and distance. And I think this might just set up nicely for him. Billy Garrity just sitting off the pace. So Ramazan for me, Jumbie for Matt. In the feature, John of Gaunt Stakes. Now then, we'll finish with a best bet from elsewhere on the card or elsewhere around the tracks. Where are you going, Matt?
I'm sticking at Haydock. It's not on the ITV schedule, but there's a couple of nice handicaps later on the card. This is the 4:45, a sprint handicap. Intrinsic Bond for me. Now, Michael Wigham, he's a trainer going really, really well, and this is a horse that... well, you often sort of read and hear to these trainers about horses moving from Newmarket up to the north of England or beyond and improving for the fresh air and scenery. Well, this one seemed to improve for the opposite switch. Went from Tracy Waggett down to Newmarket last year, put in some really good performances. He was second to Rogue Lightning off a mark of 99. He was a close third to Anaf in the Portland off the same mark as well. On that form, he has an extremely good chance here off 92. He's dropped in the weights a little bit. Likes to come off a strong pace. Sylvester de Souza rise, and I think Intrinsic Bond will give you a good run for your money in that handicap at 4:45.
Excellent. Intrinsic Bond for Matt in the 4:45 Haydock. I'm going to Beverley. The 3:15, the handicap over 7.5 furlongs, and I like the look of Billy B here for Craig Lidster, a horse that he got from Anne Duffield's. Now, when he was trained by Anne Duffield, he was rated 88 at the start of last season, has fallen down to a mark of 76, so obviously well treated straight away. And when you look at his York run last time, when 5th behind Feel the Need, I think he did the best of those that raced prominently that day, and it was a good pointer to me that his new yard might have found the key to him. So Billy B for me under Sam James in the 3:15 at Beverley. That's it, that's your lot. Thank you for watching. Enjoy the John of Gaunt Stakes and other things on Saturday afternoon, and we'll be back again next week.